Okay, hello, James Clark for ExitPress again, here with another really quick tutorial on WordPress plugins. Now, I'm not going to even come close to covering the absolute multitude of plugins available for WordPress. I'm just going to briefly cover the plugins that either we provide or that we would suggest to you use on a real estate related WordPress website. So, what exactly is a plugin? WordPress has a very broad foundation. It's capable of a lot of things. How they've broken this down is that they've created plugins to specialize so that you could use unique features on a website, really with just a plug-and-play type of interface. Plugins and widgets help do that. It's literally, once you download a plugin, it's just drag and drop inside the widget section. So let me go over some plugins here for you that we suggest. If you go over here on your dashboard, what we're looking at, this is the dashboard area of the back end of your WordPress site that we provide. You're going to go over here on the left hand side, you're going to hit the drop down, you're going to plugins, or you can simply click. Either way, either click on plugins or go to installed. I'm going to quickly review with you the plugins that we either provide or highly recommend. Okay, so here you are in your plugins interface. All of these, as you can see here, these are all different types of plugins. They all do a variety of different things. You can see here is a listing of all of them, how many are active, how many inactive, and how many are available for updates. Now, if you want to go searching for your own plugin, let's say you have something specific that we don't provide that you may find useful, you're going to click up here next to plugins on Add New. This is going to take you down where you can go search for plugins. You can either search, you can click Upload if you happen to have found a plugin somewhere on the internet, you downloaded it to your desktop. You can go here to Featured, Popular, Newest. Let's click Popular. Let's take a look at some of the latest and greatest. Contact Form 7, it's a great one. Contact Form 7, we've used it extensively in the past. However, it's not necessary now. We actually provide you with something even more powerful, something called Gravity Forms, and I'll explain the Gravity Forms plugin here shortly. Google XML sitemaps, good stuff, absolutely a necessary thing on websites if you want to create a sitemap. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and install this. As you can see here, there's a lot of other different plugins. Next Gen Gallery, WordPress Importer, actually most of this stuff's already installed on our websites, so that's a good thing to see. All the most popular stuff we already have installed. We're going to download or install Google XML sitemaps. All you do is click on Install Now. It's going to ask, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, and you hit OK. And then it's going to take you here, it's going to unpack, install, and then it will tell you right here that you have successfully installed the plugin. You then need to activate this plugin. So you click here to activate the plugin. Once it renders back, it's going to take you back to your plugin screens. So it's just that easy as how you go about finding and uploading and activating new plugins. It's really not that hard. Again, click Add New if you want to add a new one. You can come up here and upload one that you may have found. Look for Featured, Popular, Newest, Recently Updated, whatever the case may be. Okay? Now, getting back to the plugins that we utilize exclusively on our websites. This right here is AgentPress Listings. Now, the foundation for the site that we use is called Genesis. Genesis is the main parent theme of our sites. Now, the child theme that we utilize is called AgentPress. Now, I know that's kind of probably terminology many of you haven't heard, but those are foundations for the websites that we use. It's a foundation that we have found to be extremely sturdy, reliable. You just can't break it, and it's really, really intuitive. So with AgentPress Listings, we'll go into a tutorial later on how exactly you use each and every one of these plugins, but AgentPress Listings is basically what you use to display your listings on your website. Really good stuff. Akismet. This is one that you've got to have. In WordPress, in blogging, you will see spam, and it can be rampant if you don't pay attention to it. All our sites come loaded with Akismet, and basically it's a spam blocker. If you, for some reason, didn't have it, let's say we didn't create a site for you, you need to get this, and then you need to go to Akismet's site and you need to get an API key. It's not active until you get an API key from Akismet and then activate it with that key. As you can see, I mentioned earlier about Gravity Forms and Contact Forms 7. Well, you used to use Contact Forms. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate that because we don't use it or need it anymore. So, some other ones. The Genesis slider. This is the slider image that you see on the main index page, the main home page, the images that slide back and forth. We'll go in a different tutorial at a later point in time as to how you want to go about changing that slider and putting different images in and changing the transitions, things like that. That's a whole different tutorial. Gravity Forms. This is definitely an entirely separate tutorial. Gravity Forms is basically any form that you would want to create to have a client communicate, contact, survey them, whatever the case may be. You can create forms, and it is literally drag and drop. These forms are so easy to create. We create several forms for you when we create your websites. We create contact forms, forms like what's my home worth, things like that. We can create that, but you can then go in at a later point in time and create the forms with us. You can create, we own the rights to this plugin, so you can create as many as you want. And we'll go over that in a different tutorial. Some other ones that are really most important here, jQuery Lightbox. When you go into your listings, you'll find images of your actual listing, and I mean the secondary images, the kitchen and the bedrooms, bathrooms, things like that. Well, on all our listings, if you click on one of those images, it'll actually expand, and the rest of the screen will it'll gray out to really draw attention to those images. That's a jQuery Lightbox. Configuring that and setting it up, we take care of all that, but I'll actually create a different tutorial here shortly that will go through how you can then change your settings on those if you want to add more images, reduce the number of them, make them larger in size, whatever the case may be. Regenerate thumbnails. This is basically a tool slash plugin that if, let's say, you're changing and manipulating thumbnail sizes, you actually need to do that across your entire site. And Regenerate Thumbnails does that for you. All you have to literally do is go in and tell it to regenerate, and it will change the thumbnails across the entire image, across the entire site. Because if you go and you change the thumbnail size for a particular page, it could or could not affect the rest of the site depending upon how you do it. So again, something for a future tutorial. The Simple Real Estate Pack. This is actually a pretty cool little plugin. I've covered it in previous tutorials, and I'm sure I'll cover it in future ones. When you're in your page or in your post user interface, you're going to find that there are several plugins, well, not plugins. You'll find that there are several icons in there. Trulia, Google Maps, Altos, Yelp, school information. All of that stuff is complements of the Simple Real Estate Pack. It's really, really intuitive. Provide everything from mapping information to schools, mortgages, affordability calculators. It's really cool stuff. And some of this too, not only do they provide that in the user interface when you're actually typing in a post or a page, but they actually create widgets you get in this as well. And you can drag and drop these widgets into a particular page, and on the right side or in the footer, whatever the case may be, you can actually put a mortgage calculator, an affordability calculator, closing cost estimator. So that way when your client is looking on a particular page, they can go right then and there and look to see what their mortgage payment would be and if they could afford it. Again, I sound like a broken record here. I have to create another tutorial specifically for this. They are extremely easy to use, so please don't, I'm sure you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, you've got to create a tutorial for every one of these things. Only because of how powerful they are, not because of how hard they are to use. They're extremely easy to use, but they are very, very powerful. So look for a Simple Real Estate Pack tutorial here shortly. The social media widget. Man, if you do not have social media, you're missing the boat. You need to go get on the social media bandwagon, so to speak. The social media widget allows you to put and embed your social media links, whatever the case may be, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever the case may be. You can integrate it all over and all throughout your site with the social media widget, and it is so easy. It is literally as simple as downloading this plugin, dropping the widget wherever you want it, and then literally copy and pasting the links to your Facebook page or your Twitter page. Fantastic stuff. All right, I know that was probably more long and drawn out than it needed to be. As you can see, we don't have a ton of plugins that we deploy on all our sites because we don't want to get them bogged down. We keep our sites simple and clean. And I will come back through and I will go through and produce a tutorial for each and every one of these things so that you guys have an excellent working knowledge of everything from gravity forms to especially AgentPress listings, so that you really can refine as much of this as you want. And listen, if any of this becomes daunting at any point in time, please don't ever hesitate to contact us. The whole point behind this is to hand this off to you so that you can tweak this as much as you want or don't want. Now, if you find yourself in a position where you need to tweak it, but you just don't know how to do it, we're always here for you. Contact us and we'll be glad to help. The only reason we're doing this, though, is if you're anything like us, you want the ability to control and edit these things as much as you possibly can. And we're just trying to arm you with as much of that information as we can. So, again, this is James Clark for Exit Press. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.